How's everybody doing today? Very good, very good. I want to thank you for coming out today. This is a class about nutrition, diabetes, cancer, and a couple other diseases that are plaguing us today. My name is Naseem Maat. I was diagnosed with diabetes about 5 years ago. And the interesting about diabetes is you're going to be told that you can't reverse diabetes, right? We've been told that. Anybody haven't been told that yet? Anybody have diabetes in here? No? Have anybody been told that it can't be reversed? Haven't heard that? So you know it can be reversed, right? Okay, all right. Diet, lifestyle, other things. But one thing we must understand too, once we've been diagnosed with a disease, you can't give up. That's what we do once we've been diagnosed with a disease, because we get to the point and say, well, since it's hereditary, I got limited time, I think we need to understand that we give up too soon once we've been diagnosed, no matter what disease it is, right? Another thing too, once you give up that hope and you give that power to your doctor, he's not going to save you. Because if he was saving anyone, the diagnosis of diabetes and other cancers would come down. Is that right? Another thing, the sad thing about giving your power away to someone to take care of you, that's hard to do as well. Because someone's driving a car, you're in the back seat, and he's driving. You don't know what direction he's going to take. So we need to be mindful of that, okay? Because a lot of us, we die at 21, but don't get buried until we're 65. We're walking around dead because we think life is near, end of life is near. And that's not necessarily true. They tell us that cancer can't be reversed, diabetes can't be reversed. In their eyesight, there's a difference between training and being educated. A lot of doctors are being trained. What I mean by trained how to prescribe medications, train how to cut. The education education means educery, means to pull out. You're thinking outside the box. Because education and training comes from schools and self-university as well. It's difficult to tell a person how to eat if he lives in an environment that everything is negative. He has no support. If you don't have that support, if you don't have that willpower, it's hard to beat this disease, any disease for that matter. Another thing, they have a thing called relationship diseases, when people can literally make you sick. Another concept, thought process diseases, on how you think about things when somebody tells you you've been diagnosed. Yeah, it's devastating. But somehow, some way, you have to reach down in your spirit and pull that back out. Because we sentence ourselves because the prognosis is worse than the disease itself. We have to understand, we have to learn to reverse that, take hold to it, get your Bible, your Quran, whatever you use to hold on that faith. That's what you need to do. Because it's going to take all of that. Because when I was diagnosed with diabetes, I was calling Jesus, Yahweh, Allah, I was calling all of them to help me with this. In 2005, this is interesting. Me and a friend of mine, we went to the movie theater. So when we got to the movie theater, went to the restroom, went and got me a grape drink. I remember it's grape because it was sweeter than usual. And mind you, I went to the restroom already. So I went on and sat down. About an hour later, I had to go to the restroom again. But this time, I had to go to the restroom like I never had to go to the restroom before. Unusual. I knew something was going on. So what I did was I went on to the restroom, came back to the movies. So me and a buddy of mine, we left the movie theater. And so when I started driving home, I had to go to the restroom again. So when I got to his house, I went to the restroom again. Long story short, I ignored those symptoms for at least 2.5 months. For 2.5 months, I went to the bathroom every hour and a half, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because I ignored the symptoms. I didn't get no sleep. I was working midnights at the time. And I said, what is going on here? And I started getting sores on my thumb. I knew something was gone because it would change to a light green color. When it's light green, that's inflammation. It's infected. And it would take a long time to heal. Nothing on my foot or toe, on my thumb. And it's very sore. So I said, I know something's going on. So I ignored it again. I said, let me go see the doctor. So I went to visit my doctor. My doctor, they don't do blood work at the hospital where she's at. So she checked me out. She said, how you feel? I said, I feel all right, a little tired, but I'm all right. So she gave me some blood work. And time went on. I haven't heard from her. I forgot about it. I went to the grocery store with my son. And in the grocery store, I felt disoriented, confused. I had a few groceries in there. I told my son, we have to go. He said, well, why? So when he said why, I just started walking to the car. I left them there talking. So I got to the car. So I ate something. And then all of a sudden, it calmed down a little bit. I said, whoa, something's really going on here. Now, mind you, I let this go on for like 3 months with the urination and going to the bathroom and feel sluggish. Because even when I got to work, you ever feel that rubbery feeling when you wake up and you laid on your arm? Well, I felt like that in my legs, my arms, my head. I was literally dragging myself to work, literally. Then one day, I just woke up and I was working midnight shifts, like I said. I heard the phone ring and someone left a voice message on my recorder. Said, Naseem, this is Dr. So-and-so, I need to speak with you. So I'm just waking up. I'm like, wow, that sounds like the doctor. So I called the doctor back and I said, hey, what's going on? She said, how are you feeling? I said, well, I'm really tired. I work nights, but I got to work tonight. She said, I need you to go to the emergency room. I said, wait a minute, I got to work tonight. I can't go nowhere. I need you to go to the emergency room because your sugar level is 675. Well, I said, I can go after work. And she said, no, you need to go now. So I told my wife, and she said, let's go. So we got in the car. My wife drove about 150 miles to the hospital. We got there like within 5 minutes, and St. Vincent's way across town. She took a jet, So we got there, and she dropped me off at the emergency room. And my middle son, Malik, walked in with me, and she went to park the car. So when I got in there, I went to the receptionist, and I said, ma'am, my doctor told me to come here because my sugar level is 675. She said, okay, we're behind right now, but you can have a seat. I said, okay. So I went on and sat down. All of a sudden, I felt disoriented again. So I went back to the receptionist. I said, hey, I'm really feeling tired. Something's going on. She said, well, we're backed up. Please have a seat. So I started walking back to the seat. All of a sudden, I passed out on the floor. Now, I heard my son Malik saying, Dad, you all right? He's pulling on my arm. Dad, you all right? And the emergency nurses came running out. So they helped me up off the floor, put me in the back. And I all of a sudden passed out again on the emergency bed that they had back there. So while back there, I'm looking at my sons looking down at me. And my oldest son, he's interesting. He's pacing. Dad, it don't look good for him. It don't look good. And, I told him, it'll be all right. Then I dozed off. And all of a sudden I had this vision that this actually happened. It was me and my brothers looking down at my father. My father died from cancer. And it's amazing, I have 4 brothers, but 2 of my brothers, we all flew to Philadelphia, and we were watching at him. And so it was like me laying down, but watching my dad, then my son's looking down at me. This was deep. This was really deep. So I woke up, I said, wow, I got to do something about this. This is too deep. So the doctor comes in, my wife was already in with me and all my boys. About 4 or 5 hours went by. And the doctor comes in and says, Mr. Naseem, just want to let you know, you're diabetic now, but the interesting thing, and he said it just like this, literally, the interesting thing about this, you don't have no problem with your liver, cancer, and your psychological is okay. I said, well, I don't know about that one. Everything else might go to psychological. I don't know. But what's interesting is, and he was saying this, most of the times when especially African Americans are diagnosed with diabetes, I have to tell them, you will have to be on dialysis for the rest of your life, especially with your number being so high. So I was blessed to have a doctor that understood and explained to me what's going on. So I said, okay. So it still didn't click about diabetes. So what I did was, I said, well, can you give me some Gatorade so I can go on to work tonight then? He just shook his head. Oh my God. Mr. Naseem, you're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. I gotta go to work. So he walked out of the room. My wife was talking to me. And I was tired, tired to argue. So we went up to the room. I got to the room. My boys and my wife left. And actually, I felt pretty good being alone. It felt like a condo, I was like, man, am I single? Oh, I'm quiet, peace, got TV. Oh man, this is the life. So when the doctors come in, we're laughing, joking, I'm having a good time, good ball. With the nurse, we having a ball. So when she took my sugar level, it was 495, I'm going to say. She said, Mr. Naseem, the food in here, you got to be careful what you eat. What? Be careful what you eat? You're the one giving it to me. You're giving it to me, and you want me to be careful with it. Don't you know you shouldn't be giving this to me? So we had this debate for a while. Well, Mr. Naseem, I'm just here to tell you, just be careful. The next day was interesting because I had another lady come in my room, and she didn't say anything. She just walked in, looking around. So I'm looking at her. She didn't say anything. She just walked in my room. I said, hello, can I help you? She went to the window, peeked outside, then came back to my bed and got this close to me. Be careful on the food you eat in here. I'm like this in my bed looking at her. I said, okay. So I started looking under the bed and went to the window and see if somebody's after her. So when she left, I was up all that day. I didn't get any sleep. Then another nurse came in and said, hey, we have videos on diabetes on the television. I thought about that. Still didn't click, but I thought about it. They had 24 hours of videos on diabetes, how to treat it, how to eat and exercise. I stayed up 24 hours watching the entire set. Then it clicked. My grandfather died from diabetes. My uncle died from diabetes. I'm in the hospital. Fool, you can die. That's what happened. It clicked. It clicked like a rock falling from the sky. When it finally clicked, I was in the hospital for 6 days. On the 7th day, my sugar level went down to 278 because I remember that's what they left me on. All right, you're leaving today.